Hey Zen,
Yes.
how do you follow Will Smith in the snow? You follow the Fresh Prince.
Hey, Jack. My wife asked me to stop singing Wonderwall. I said, maybe I'm gonna be the one that saves me.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Welcome back, guys, to yet another episode in the Auction House podcast. This is episode 19. We are back yet again, almost at 20. It's going to be great, right, Jack?
Yeah, 20 soon next week.
Very soon. We have some interesting things coming up today. Of course, this is a bunny episode. For the agenda today, we have, of course, token prices. Very important. We talk about this every single week. And we have some markets coming up. Some damn scale basilisk guys. We're going to talk about that. Tolvir hieroglyphics and Penfir gems. Very nice.
Very nice. And as well, we have some news topics. For you, upcoming Monday, the botter will be live in your stream. He's gonna hack your stream, Zen. So that's fun.
Yeah,
to
Monk
watch
S. We're gonna die.
What time?
Well, 6 p.m. CEST is usually the time that I start. So, that point in time, 5 hours going forward.
Okay.
Around that time is probably when he's gonna show up.
Also, we got some news from the botter as well. There is going to be some high amount of botters during the Burning Crusade Classic, according to his information, his sources. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Yep, we are. It's going to be interesting.
Gold Goblin also made a very nice English guide for you to read as well in German. But I think the majority here is English. And we were going to talk about a bit about that as well for the classic. And the clone service has some changes, so we're going to talk about this as well.
Yep.
And we go to the main part, and we're going to talk about the botter, the new botter we met. So
Definitely interesting.
Stay tuned for that.
Yes, sir. So Jack, how was your week?
It was very wet.
Wet.
Yeah,
were you out swimming?
Yeah, but almost.
Oh, okay.
In cold. No, it has been raining a lot in the Netherlands. So
it has here as well. I'm gonna be honest. We also had lightning and stuff. Ooh. I almost died.
Was it Greece?
Greece?
Yeah, Greece lightning.
Greece lightning, go Greece lightning. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
I just finished a new guide for people that want to expand their gold making with a second account. I have a couple of steps they can take, what they should be aware of, how they can do that with TradeScale Master add-on. So check it out on my website, www.golddipper.com. The coaching sessions are very busy, and I'm working on another guide that will be the TradeScale Master guide for the values, like the rate, the item level, that kind of stuff. That will be out upcoming week, so...
Yeah. Very good.
How was your wet or dry week?
I mean, it's been an interesting week for sure. We had a lot of rain as well, but I mean, I've been very, very busy with the streams. It's been good. It's been fun.
Was it raining, man?
What?
Hallelujah!
It's raining, man, and I just don't get But something that was pretty awesome is the fact that I've been getting into reposting on the auction house again, spending a lot of time on the auction house and crafting and unlocking different things. It's been great. I've been investing all my gold. It's awesome. Yeah.
Just to start, before we go to the token, we can say now the butter is coming to your stream upcoming Monday. Not sure what time it's coming, but what can people expect? What can people do? Can they tell him to hack you or beat the shit out of him?
I mean, no. He's probably gonna be fine. But if you guys have any questions, if there's anything you want to ask somebody that has had a very big bunny operation up and running, hey, go right ahead. Come in, ask the questions, or if you have anything and you can't be there, just send it through to me or Jack. It could be on Twitch or on Discord, anywhere that you can find us. Twitter as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Best thing I think will be in your stream. I think.
I mean, yeah, obviously, if you're there when it's live and you're there to actually ask a question when he's there, it's it's going to be a more easier answer, easier to get to for sure. So if that's something you want, make sure.
Bob the Butter. Check out on www.twitch.tv/censorful.
Bob can bot it, do.
Can we bot it? Yes.
Can we bot it? No, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for sure. So first of all, before we pop into more news thingies, we're gonna talk about the tokens, of course. Very important things here going on. On EU, we haven't seen that many changes. It's been very stable here for the last, 2-3 weeks. I want to say it's been pretty stable, going up and down between 225 to 235, 40 almost. It's very important, of course, to keep following this price, because something that we have coming on, we talked about this last week as well. We have TBC coming out. The pre-patch is going to come out in, I don't know how many days, on the 18th of May. That is when it comes out. And then, of course, on the 1st of June is when it releases globally. And that's very important, because on the 18th of May is when everything comes out in the shop. So we might see a very big increase in the price there. And going forward 2-3 weeks, of course.
In the US, it's a total shit show at the moment. People are panicking on the street. I heard people got thrown out of their houses because they not have enough gold for the game to play, because prices are going up so much in the US at the moment. We have reached a peak at the moment for 163k. It's a lot for the US. I'm not sure what the highest one is, but I think we definitely should talk about it next week. See how high it can go, as well for the EU one.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. I think the last long time, I think the highest one was like 166k or whatever on US. But it's pretty crazy that the US token is, it's consistently rising. Not like the EU token, but I think the EU token already went up there to it's gonna.
How high can
around.
You go? Huh.
Yeah. But I mean, we're gonna see, obviously, with TBC pre-patch coming out and all that stuff.
Yes.
So it's gonna be a very interesting time, of course. And yeah, I mean, we can't really say much more before it actually comes out. So.
And also, don't forget, guys, it's now a good moment to buy your tokens, because there's definitely not gonna be a drop in price sooner or later. So. Invest all your savings, all your gold, buy some tokens for later on, so you have some game time or whatever.
I mean, I would say if you're one that wants to use some Blizzard balance on mind, the things that are coming out with TBC, definitely get the tokens now. Or if you have 1 month left in terms of game time, definitely buy another month right now. Yes. Don't wait. Do not wait. It's way too risky, because the token might go up a lot, and then it might be way too expensive for you to buy, or you might potentially lose out on a lot of gold that you didn't have to in the first place.
I wish it went down like the Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have an Elon Musk to talk about it like that, so impossible.
Right. Markets. Let's start with you, with a market you picked.
Yeah, we have some interesting markets coming up here. We have Damn Scale Basilisk, guys.
Can I call it Damn Scale?
Damn Scale? No. Damn, boy, what'd you find? No. The thing about these eyes, I'm sure some of you have heard about them before, but for the people that have not, they are a TBC rep token, the Burning Crusade rep token, that people use to turn from hated to neutral, from Eldor to the Scryers. It's basically to get crafting recipes for your professions if you're doing that in TBC. And of course, there are people that are doing this, and every time that they want to do that process, they need 1,300. So 1,300 Damn Scale Basilisk guys is how many they need. Now, to talk about the market itself, it's a pretty slow selling market, but a lot of people undervalue how much you can sell these for. On bigger servers, you can sell them for 100 to 200 gold, usually. And on medium pop, low pops, it's all the way up to 500 gold. I've seen people sell them for frequently. To talk about the current state of the market, obviously, since pretty much, actually, if we look all the way back to June 15th of 2020, a 22,000 quantity was what was posted on the auction house, right? And then it went all the way up to around the time that Shadowlands released. We had it peaked at 135,000, which is very, very high, being at a 320 regional price, which is really good. It's really high. And now it's trickled down from 110K average at that point all the way down to 44, 45 to 50K. That's the regional daily posted. If you look on it at EU, the entirety of Shadowlands, the price has pretty much been totally busted on the Undermine Journal. But if you look in game, you're going to be able to see what the actual regional price is a little deeper with the TSM data, of course. And it would be probably around 300 gold still, the regional price, which is still very good, but the quantity is going down. What's really important to think about in this market is a lot of people undervalue it and will post it for 10 to 50 gold. And that's where you have to strike, right? If you don't want to farm these things, you can farm them both solo and in a group. But if you're one to just stalk the auction house, look for the very cheap ones. Follow the market for a long time on your server and see if you can catch some very cheap ones, because you can make yourself a lot of gold. And when people pop by and finally buy some eyes, they're going to buy probably 1,300, 1,300. So it's a slow selling market. It's not one you can expect to, it's going to go in and out of your inventory in a week. This could take weeks to sell, and depending on the server, maybe longer. Just to let you guys know.
On the NA, there's not a lot of movement on it, so you really have to pick the moments to buy them. Keep scanning the auction house, keep checking it out. Just to give you guys an example, in January, the price went up a little bit from 275 to a 360 gold, and it's now averaged down to like a 350 gold. So the US has lesser movement in price, but you need to get those moments, get the cheap ones, and that's where you can find your money.
Absolutely.
Right, next one is a great name. It's called the Tolvir Hieroglyphic.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good.
Say 10 times and you get a genie out of a bottle. So,
not really, but
I wish. So the item is an archaeology item. It's a keystone, and it's used to make your dig sessions. That sounds really strange what I'm saying, but your
digging sessions.
Your digging sessions.
Not your dick sessions, as in, the one that's attached to you. No, digging with a shovel in the game.
So this it's used to make it easier. The keystone will fill up the fragments you're missing and will make it easier to fulfill or complete a project you're doing on the archaeology. To get those jars. The jars can have the recipe for Foul to Sense. Yeah. That's the main reason why people are buying these fragments. Also, this market is not a very active market. However, it is a market where people undervalue a lot these items, and we're talking about people posting them for a simple 1,000 gold, while they actually value have of a 5,000 to 6,000 gold. So that is interesting. The second interesting thing about it is most of the buyers don't buy one, but buy multiple ones. Otherwise they have to go every time back to the auction house unless they have a long boy. So they buy multiple ones. And from January, this is interesting. From January, it started with a price of 6,000 average region in the US. And it went up at the moment to a price of 9,500 region value. So there's definitely an increase of it. The quantity even went up a little bit. I think it's interesting because more people have now off time and they check out new markets and try to invest in them. So also with this market is keep checking it out, see if you can find any cheap ones and scoop them. What about
scoop
EU?
Them up. Well, EU has been an interesting one, obviously going towards the time that Shadowlands released, a couple months up towards it. The highest peak it peaked at when Shadowlands was released is somewhere in between 3,300 to 3,800 on the posted quantity. The prices stayed the same from pretty much September all the way until February, but at the end of February, going towards the end of February, is where the price started picking up. Okay,
nice.
So it started going from 3,500 ish on average all the way up to being 5,500 now regionally.
Okay.
And the quantity has dropped a little. It's staying between 2,000 and 2,500, but that's where it's been for months now. But the price itself has gone up regionally.
Juicy
very
market.
juicy, very juicy.
Definitely.
So if this is something, little side project, you guys can go into it. It's very important. It's good. Used for Violent Sands.
Yeah, maybe you want to get the Violent Sands, go.
Yeah, if you want to go for I mean, it's obviously even better because if you invest into this market, you could be like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to try and get the Violent Sands.
Yeah.
Just what you could do, right?
Indeed. Smart thinking.
Very good.
Smart thinking.
Yes, very good. The next one we have in line are the Panther gems. And we're going to talk, this is Pandaria, obviously. Don't ever do that. Don't ever growl ever again. I don't want to.
Sorry.
No, but there are obviously 6 different ones. We're going to talk about the 4 ones that are used for the mount specifically. Something that's very interesting about these 4 different ones, of course, being the Sun's Radiance, Wild Jade, River's Heart, and Primordial Rubies. These are one of the markets that are impacted by, obviously, Ghost Iron and Spirit of Harmony. And we know that the Spirit of Harmony is, dropped in quantity, increased in price. So it only makes sense that something like this will go up in price, especially because it's getting older and older, the content, so less and less people have it. If we talk about pretty much, like, we can say the same thing about all of them, because ever since Shadowlands released, the price has been increasing on all of them, and the quantity, and this is on EU, by the way, the quantity and price has all changed. The quantity is slowly dropping, and the price is slowly increasing.
What's the date on your data when the price went up for you?
The price started going up after Shadowlands released, November 23rd.
The US started in the middle of March when the price went up.
Yeah, but it already started then.
There was a minimum up price when the Shadowlands released, but the real price increase went from March. But go ahead.
Yeah. I want to say something that's really important about these markets. Something you have to remember is people get these things out of transmuting and out of prospecting. And that's both from Kyperite and it's also from Ghost Iron. It's very important to realize that these things have a specific value that you would have to calculate based on the percentages. It's a lot of math. It's complicated to figure out, but it's very important to follow these markets because they're used for mounts that a lot of people still buy. I do want to say that the vendor sell price is super high, which means that the deposit cost is super high. So posting these gems multiple times is something you have to be careful about.
Yeah,
right?
Or big stacks.
Yeah, you would have to look out, absolutely, or big stacks. You would have to look out for the times where you can find some really cheap gems where people undervalue them because they're either tired of them or they want to get rid of them or they want to cut losses.
Or they have no clue.
Or they're clueless, right? Or if you're crafting the Panthers yourself, if you see something cheap, it's a good idea to buy it, obviously. But just as a little important thing.
Yeah, try to post them in stacks of 20 because you need 20 per type of gem to make the Panther.
10 or 20 is a good answer.
Well, 20 of course, because with 10 you don't have enough.
No, I know, but the thing is, when you're prospecting, the reason I'm saying 10, when you're prospecting, if you're prospecting a smaller amount of Kyperite or Ghost Iron ore, you can be very unlucky and not get all the colors you need.
If you notice that the market for these gems are really good on your server from a longer time period, try to do 40. And the reason why I say 40 is because the 20 for the Panthers and the 4 Panthers make then the Onyx Panther. So
the Jeweled one,
there's a possibility that the same crafter will need the 4 other Panthers as well. So you need 20 more of those gems. So
even 60, because usually they craft enough for a while. But what about the US? Was it pretty much the same?
No, in March the increase started in price, but also the quantity started an increase.
Okay.
So the fun thing here is on almost all the gems, and I'm just picking out one at the moment because they almost have all the same effects. The Primordial Ruby, it started increasing from price on the the 15th of March, and it went from a price from 230 gold to now a price of 312 gold. So it's a 50 gold increase. And the quantity as well, that went up from an almost 15,000 to now at the moment an 18,000. So seems like the price is going up and the quantity is going up. Good market to get into if you find it, like you said, sensible to find some cheap ones.
Yeah.
And they are also crafted with transmute by using the raw version of the gem and the golden lotus, and people can get like 5 gems with one craft. So there's also a possibility.
If you're really lucky, yeah.
Yeah. And if you're not sure about the prices, what to pick in your trade skill master user, definitely use the price sources, smart average buy and crafting. Then you'll for 90% sure you will make a profit on them if you can sell them.
Yeah. But just always remember the deposit cost, the vendor sell price on these are very high, which means the price that the amount of gold that you use on posting these gems are going to be very high. So
they can eat out of your profit.
Yeah, they can eat out a majority of your profit.
Nom.
So just be aware of that, because that's very important. Or try to sell them in trade chat.
News. Let's go to the news.
Yeah, we got some interesting news. We obviously earlier we talked a little bit about the butter coming on the stream on Monday for me. Butter. Something else that's very important, Jack. Something else that is very important. Something that we have been considering, and we also talk about it later in this episode for the main part, is very important.
Yeah, we got some inside information for you guys.
Yeah.
Especially for the classic players.
Absolutely. TBC releasing. We have seen when Classic came out, the Vanilla Classic, a lot of bots were in that. I'm sure a lot of you guys that play Classic absolutely know this. And we are all 100% sure that it's going to be the same, if not way worse, in TBC if Blizzard doesn't do anything about it. Let's take it from that perspective. If that happens, that means that a majority of the people that do bot in retail are probably going to move over to TBC. And there's also a lot that are only going to bot TBC. And that will impact the botting scene of retail. And it will also impact a lot of markets on retail. And what I want you guys to look at are all the known markets that are usually botted that we know of right now, right? And that would be ore in Shadowlands, that would be herbs in Shadowlands, that would be leather in Shadowlands, right? Everything that can be gathered is worth it to look at. We have to follow every single market in the amount of quantity, in the prices, everything that's being posted. We're probably going to talk about this on the next week's episode. To see what's been going on, but it's very important to follow these markets, guys, because it might impact it a lot. We don't know how much is going to impact it, but we know it's probably going to do something because it did when Classic came out.
Yeah, and we got some news as well from our botter Bob. One of the big bots out there is already is gonna do soon enough some beta testing on the bot, and you can assume from that's gonna be a bot mania.
It's basically one of the bigger public bots, the keyloggers as they call them, is gonna go online for TBC, and they're pretty much gonna have an online marketplace that people can buy the software and start botting.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna. We don't know how insane it's gonna be, but it's gonna be probably pretty big. So it's definitely important to think about that in the strategy that you use on playing TBC, if that's something that you're considering. But we just have to realize that TBC will impact retail in a lot of ways. Also the token.
Now, staying at the Burning Crusade Classic, I got a link from Mr. Gold Goblin, our German friend that streams also a lot. So if you're from Germany or you speak German, you understand German, check him out on Twitch. But also check him out on his website. And if you look for professions.goldgoblin.net, there's a new guide he made, and it looks very great. It's how he built it up. There's it's a two-piece. I can say it's a two-piece piece of guide. It's one for profession, for leveling guides, the professions, and one for the farming guides. It's in English. There's also a German version on it. Maybe he's gonna make a Spanish version of it. I have no clue, but definitely want to check it out. I'll put the link on my website. Upcoming Sunday, I think, will be a Sunday on my website with all the links, so you can check it out. Definitely have a look at this guy because he's a pretty big gold maker that a lot of non-German speaking people don't know about yet.
Also, next in line, we have a little bit of news coming towards
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. No, Blizzard decided to lower the amount of money that we need to spend on the cloning service, guys. It went from $35 down to $15. It's probably going to be 12, 13 euros, whatever. Probably the same as the sub in euros, but taking that from a standpoint, they lowered it by $20. It's good. It's definitely good. $15 is way more acceptable for what that service does. And yeah, I think it's good. It's good. It's good.
EU as well. In pounds, it's going to be £12.
Yeah,
and in euros, €15. What they say on the Bowhead.
I don't remember how much it was.
It's €15. They say. Just give you guys a little bit of a heads up. It's not something we're going to do every time or every month, or it's not something we actually planned to have a second botting account when we did the first one.
Nope. We did not plan to have a second person on. Absolutely not.
The reason was that we came in contact with Botter Bob from the first episode he listened to, and he was very excited about it. So he thought, like, oh, let's give him let's try to have a little chat with these guys and see what I can do for them. And this guy is a botter. In prime time, he bought it with 130 accounts, made £70,000 a year.
Which is close to $100,000
yeah, $100,000. So he will talk about it.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. But it's not a thing we're going to repeat over and over again. It's
absolutely
just
not.
The opportunity we got. And just enjoy the show.
Yeah, we wanted to have this on because it would provide a little more info, a lot of very interesting statistics. So
yeah,
I hope you guys are going to enjoy a little bit of a great episode talking about butts.
Yeah,
enjoy it. So guys, we're entering into the main part of the episode here. This is very interesting. We're going to talk yet again about butting. I obviously want to start out with the fact that me and Jack do not support butting it anyway. Just if you guys, didn't know already, I feel like we've said this a bunch of times, but I feel like we should put a little stamp on it again.
Yes.
The very important thing about this person that we do have on is after the first botting episode that we had, I'm not sure if you guys listened to it or not. You can if you want to. I don't remember what episode number it is, but it was
a bonus.
Yeah, it's a bonus episode, so you guys can find it wherever you listen to. But the main thing is that we got in contact with somebody else, a guy that has way more info into the actual butting community, in both in terms of actual companies running butting software, running 100 to 150 accounts himself. It's very, very huge. I don't know what else, Jack. Is there something you want to mention before we introduce him?
Well, his name is Butter Bob. I mean, it's buttery, but
butter me up, Bob.
Butter up, Bob. And Butter Bob, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this second episode for butting.
Hey, thanks very much for having me, guys.
Great to have you here. Hey, tell us a bit about, because today it's the 8th of May. A lot of things has happened. We recently heard about the multi-boxing changes. Tell us a bit what happens on the bot side. Is there any news at the moment?
So, as it stands at the moment, there seems to be, I don't want to call it a ban wave, because we don't really have ban waves in the way that we used to. Blizzard used to, more in the Honor Buddy era, sort of, 2015, 2016, used to have this thing where they would just save up a load of accounts and then ban everybody all in one go. What seems to happen these days more than anything is Blizzard push out a new detection method. Their anti-cheat, which most people will know as being called Warden. They will push a new unit to it, if you want to call it that, which is a new detection method, and it will do its thing. So as it stands at the moment, we are starting to see, literally over the last probably 2 weeks, more accounts getting banned than we have done probably in the last 6 months or so. I personally lost last night 15 accounts.
15?
Yeah, 15 in total. Which was all of the accounts that I was using at the moment, because I've gone from what I would consider to be large scale to just doing this for fun and for personal reasons. But yeah, it's just a case of sitting in cooldown for a little while, really, seeing what Blizzard's move is next, and then kind of moving from there.
Okay. Before we go dive deeper into it, let's give people an idea of what kind of botter you are. What have you done? What kind of games did you bot? How big were you? Tell us a bit about your background in botting.
So I started botting back in 2005. There was a bit of software out at the time called Glider, which some of you might know as MMO Glider or WoW Glider. It really was the first public bot for World of Warcraft. And I actually started botting purely because I just didn't want to deal with the grind. It wasn't the leveling. I enjoyed the leveling. It was literally trying to get money together on a regular basis to raid and that type of stuff. I quickly fell out of love early on with botting. So like your early bots are really difficult to use. And then I actually quickly moved into fish botting and would spend a lot of time just fishing savory deviates because they sold so well. From there, I then kind of got more and more into the botting industry. I started running some more private bots that were around at that time, and sort of had 10 or 12 bots running, probably late vanilla, early TBC. And from there, very quickly fell into the botting community as a whole. I've actually worked for a bot which was sued and closed down by Blizzard Entertainment. I say worked for in a non-paid for capacity, if you want to put it like that. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I've ran a large-scale bot operation at one point when I lost my job, and I was pulling in around about 70 grand a year from that botting operation. It was about 130 at one point. I think was my largest number of bots.
So 70,000 a year.
Yeah, that's making me about 70,000 a year.
Pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how much in dollars?
Almost 100K in dollars.
100K.
97,000.
$97,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, keep it going. 130 bots.
Yeah, so 130 bots bringing me in the thick end of $100,000 a year. That was a lot of work, but where I currently was in my life and with everything else that was going on, it was the easiest way for me to actually make money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just an opportunity that I just had to grab by the scruff of the neck and kind of run with. I then took a break after that for a while. I kind of gave myself burnout. I've been playing WoW a lot. I quit actually playing WoW at the end of Wrath of the Lich King. I was in a progression guild at that point. I had a couple of world firsts and some other bits and pieces. From there, played some Pandaria and really botted on and off all the way through to Mr. Pandaria. Mr. Pandaria, all the way through to BFA.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, again, personal stuff. Anywhere between 10 and 12 bots at any one time. And then I've kind of come back with I'm not going to say a vengeance, but kind of taking it seriously again because I've started playing through Shadowlands properly. And so I'm currently set myself a target to make 100 million gold before patch 9.1. And I am currently sat on about 78 million liquid gold.
So you think you're going to make it?
Based on last night's ban wave, probably not. We'll see. I didn't lose my main account. My main account has never, ever been touched by a bot. Lives on a completely different email account, etc., etc.
And to give people an idea, not his Blizzard accounts get banned, but his WoW accounts only get banned at bots.
So individual WoW accounts, because in one Blizzard account, you can have up to 8 different WoW accounts. So in some cases, even though there is bots on every single one of those 8s, the Blizzard account would not get banned like the entire thing. Only the individual accounts Really weird. Really weird.
But Bob, how long are they now? Are they perma-banned or are they temporarily banned?
No, they're all 6-month bans. What I will say is,
Months.
yeah, it's a joke, isn't it? I mean, they've clearly seen me using them. They're just like, 6 months.
And how long have you been botting with those accounts?
Some of them have been. So, what I should explain for the people is those accounts, those 12, make up what I call a machine. So some of them will be farming materials, some of them will be literally making items, some of them will be doing my commerce stuff and posting on the auction house. And literally the ones that have been making and posting on the auction house, I have had for 6 months to a year. Because they're just sat in a lot of them sit out in Dalaran or somewhere where you're not going to get seen. Player reports are our biggest enemy. So guys, it's become a bit of a meme I see it posted on the WoW Academy thread, like to report us. Do it. It's your biggest smoking gun to get rid of botters. Seriously.
It's your privilege.
Yeah, honestly, it is the number one way to get rid of us. So if you take anything from today's episode, report every bot you see.
It is kind of strange because we're paying for the game, or the majority of the players are paying for the game, and they have to solve the problems that we pay the people for.
Blizzard would rather litigate than innovate.
But hey, then again, if Blizzard's like, oh well, we could give the players a little bit of renewed purpose in the game, hunt down the bots.
Yeah. Blizzard, give us an achievement or something for it.
Yeah. That would be wild.
I mean, you look at something like, I don't know, Rainbow Six, and you report somebody, and then you get a little tick in your inbox that says, hey, and you get that with Blizzard now. You report somebody and an action was taken against their account, you get a little email, and I'm sure that the people who are against this get a little pang of happiness. A little kick out of it. So do
100%.
it. You'll get rid of us quicker. You'll make our lives harder.
Okay. Hey, and how many accounts do you now have left?
0, but, well, I say 0. I have just started an additional 15.
Yeah, well, so that wasn't really long lasted. I mean, you're back up and running pretty quickly.
Very, very quickly. And it's...
Okay.
You won't see us leveling either. So, like, my preferred method of leveling is pet battles.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you've got limited exposure. Think about it. You're not out in the world.
Alone.
You can't get stuck on a wall somewhere trying to hand a quest in. You are limiting everything that could go wrong. So by standing in front of a pet battle station, just pet battling over and over and over again, the next thing you know, I can set those, well, I have set those going, and all of them will be 50 by tomorrow morning. And then I will run them all through various methods to get them to 60.
So you're telling me that bots are actually inflating the number of pet battles there are. Can you imagine if Blizzard is like, oh, our pet battling is doing so good, and then it's like 50% just botters?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's a well-known spot. I don't use this one because it's so well-known, but Veil of Blossoms.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that spot over bottom left of the map. By that little bit of water, and you've got the otters down. Is it otters or civets, whatever it is down there? You'll always find somebody botting down there. My preferred location is essentially Draenor. So I will set my bot going to do the first entry bits to Draenor to get my garrison. So it will do those bits, and then after that, it just goes off in pet battles.
But it only works till level 50, right? Or
only works till level... I mean, I haven't, to be honest with you. That's a good point, does it? Thanks, mate. I
don't know.
I don't know. I haven't tried, to be honest with you. It's just... it's just been my way to quickly get some gear together between 50 and 60. So I break my accounts down into 3 groups, if you want to put it like that. I've got my accounts which are going out and fetching materials. I've got my accounts which are crafting materials. And I've got my accounts which are putting stuff on the auction house and essentially doing my inventory management for me. And yeah, I lost all of those this week.
Is it, by the way, a common way to level your characters by battling, or is that something you only do, or a couple of people?
I think it's pretty common. It's for anybody who is botting on scale. You want as limited interaction as possible. You want to minimize your touch surface, as I would put it. Mm-hmm. So again, some people like to go out and just grind and grind and grind. Yeah. So one of the areas that you will see anything that's like an infinite spawn. So the Murlocs in just outside of Stormwind, in that little those two little islands, there's one. You'll find bots there all the time. Anywhere like that with sort of infinite hyper spawns. It's where, and to be honest with you, scaling has been our biggest friend. Blizzard implemented scaling has been a massive plus for us.
Yeah, because you could just consistently sit in the same spot because the mobs level with you. Yeah.
Whereas before you had a profile that did level 1 through 10, and then you'd have to
move and get over to another place that worked for the 10 to 20 or whatever.
Literally, now I've got profiles on my machine from honor body era and pre-scaling era. That's like level 1 through 10 is just outside Stormwinds. Then we're off over to Westmarch or whatever. And it's nuts. It used to be a lot more difficult. So you would wait for all of your characters to get together to the same level, and then you'd move them all in one go. And they're either across different instances or. And previous to that, it was even more difficult because you didn't want to put all 10 of your bots in the same place because you're just halving your XP rates. You'd either put them in a group so that they were getting XP together, or you would stagger their leveling. So you would have like 2 in the 1 to 10 bracket, 2 in the 20 to 30 bracket, etc., etc., etc.
So, I mean, all of these different areas of body is really interesting, of course. But we have one thing we talked about it earlier. With your accounts getting banned here last night, do you feel that Blizzard does like an adequate job at bot detection? Do you feel they're getting better? They're doing worse? What do you feel?
It's going to be difficult for me to justify my answer, I suppose, having just been banned last night. So people take what I'm about to say with a pinch of salt, or take what I say. It's up to you guys, really. But my opinion is no. Blizzard do an absolutely terrible job of bot detection and generally looking after the state of their game. So from a Blizzard, and I mentioned this before, I used this term before, Blizzard would rather litigate than innovate. If you look at their history and the way that they have approached these problems, Blizzard out here, so when they've sued the likes of Honor Buddy, when they've sued the likes of Pocket Gnome and Shadowbots and those, you can look through the court proceedings and and see how much Blizzard claim they are spending to combat botters, and they say it's hundreds of thousands. But they then, on the other hand, got rid of the single most effective means of combating botters, which was real GMs. Blizzard don't have real GMs anymore, and it was so much harder. I mean, we used to be able to. There was a private bot on the market for a little while in Wrath of the Lich King, and you could see if a GM was nearby. It showed you hidden players, basically. So you could you'd be botting, and all of a sudden you'd get an alert to your to your computer or to your email. It's like, yo, there's a GM nearby. And so you'd check on that instance of bot, and there'd just be a GM stood there waving at you or teleporting you around or doing something like that.
Really waving at you.
Yeah, man.
Hello.
It was class. Like I can honestly say I've seen more GMs in my time because of botting than your average player would have done through all of the early days when GMs were around. And you know what? The GMs used to be really fun. Like they'd be like, I'm going to ban you now. You'd be like, all right, okay, cool. I'll see you in a few hours. But yeah, it's like the single most. The problem now is that when you guys report us, and that is still the best way to get rid of us, you report us. It goes into a big pool, and somebody then just looks at the data. But a GM would get that report and quickly go over to where I was and be like, yeah, that dude's buying, bye. And it was a lot more instant.
Do you think they should ban the whole Blizzard account?
The problem with doing that is that you then ban on games where you may not have cheated. So if you've got Diablo against that account.
No, but what I think is, if you're a driver of a car and you have people in your car and you're making mistakes, then you also cause mistakes for other people. So don't drive reckless. That's what I mean. Just if you don't want to get your whole Battle.net account banned, just don't bot.
I agree with what you're saying. My problem comes down to what is essentially the letter of the law. And I can only say this having been having been working for a company that was sued. Mm-hmm. Because of the way that software licensing works, yes, you have an overall account, but each one of those games has a separate EULA against it, or a terms of service. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, you accept each game's licensing agreement, not the account's agreements. So therefore, they can actually only ban you from the game that you have cheated on, which is why and it's the same with. I mean, you look at what they should have done is done a unified cheat engine, if you want to put it like that, because you look at Steam, you get VAC banned on one thing, you're VAC banned on everything because you have cheated against VAC, if you want to put it like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That would have been a much more effective solution, but because you've ended up with this bastardized child of Activision and Blizzard, they can't do that now.
Let me rephrase the question. If they would change that policy, do you think that will help stop bots going botting?
Nah. No? Absolutely not. We don't care. It's like,
yeah, I mean, if you get a 6-month ban or a perma ban, you're still gonna make a new account because you need to get things moving, and then maybe you get an account back. But hey, but I get that. It's just, you know, the reason that we're bringing this up, me and Jack, it's mostly because we've seen multiple multi-boxers get their entire Blizzard account absolutely just taken out, the entire thing permabanned, and they don't want to talk to you again. And it's just really weird that they do something like that against some of the player base, but not actual cheaters, you know. But I mean, sure, some multi-boxers may have used some automation stuff in some terms, but still, it's weird, you know.
I mean, I'll be honest. A lot of the communities that I sit in have a large crossover with multi-boxing.
Yeah,
and I haven't come across that I can think of anybody, because one of the forums that I'm on, there's a big ban report section, and I can't think of anybody who's literally not been able to log into their Blizzard account, or they've logged in and found that they can't play Diablo anymore, for instance. What usually happens is that multi-boxers will have 5 accounts on one Battle.net account, and all of those get hit with the same sanction because they were all in the same place at the same time doing the same thing, and therefore they all get banned on the same day for the same period of time, or permanently. And so that does come across like a this whole account has been banned. But
yeah,
I think
if you only play WoW, of course.
Yeah, if you only play WoW, of course. So,
but what about? I mean, if it goes into it, why doesn't that happen to? Does that happen a lot to bot accounts as well? The entire thing gets slapped.
No, not really. But that more comes back to what I was saying before, that you've got 5 accounts on a Battle.net account, 5 WoW accounts on a Battle.net account for a multi-boxer. All of those will have been multi-boxings, therefore they can very easily say this has happened.
So it's a little easier to clarify.
Yeah, a little easier to clarify. Whereas with a botter, they have to prove that every single one of those accounts has been botted on, which is a bit more difficult.
Okay. I mean, that's an all right answer. I'm still it just hits me a little weird, Just I don't know. I feel like I get the point, but it's just I guess feelings are hard to understand sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think it's that they would if they could. I think is what it comes down to. I think it comes down to more to do with the letter of the law around licensing agreements and stuff like that. I think that's the problem. If you to take your analogy of a car, you get into a car accident that wasn't your fault, or you get into a car accident and your car breaks down. It doesn't mean you're banned from driving every other car. You don't have your license taken off you immediately. There has to be some form of investigation and stuff done before that can happen.
What are the things that Blizzard could do to stop botters, actually, besides let players report it? Is there a software way they can do it, or
the two for me are bring back proper GMs, real people. Blizzard, you've got the money. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
If this was really a priority for you, bring back GMs. The other one is the software point you've just made there. There's no way in hell that Blizzard don't have the tools, skills, and ability to be able to at least pull information together through statistical analysis and other bits and pieces on players who might be botting. I mean, we already know that they follow money around. We already know that they follow large sums of gold being transferred in auction house purchases. So if I'm sat online for 4 days straight farming in Bastion, do you not think you should probably take a look at my account? Because if I can suddenly stay awake for 4 days straight, I'm some sort of mad superhuman.
Or you're very unhealthy and about to die.
I mean, there is that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
It's an absolute joke. There's no way that Blizzard don't know what we're doing. They are ignoring it. It's as simple as that. The one where Asmongold found that boomkin train just out there farming raptors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's what was there, like 35 boomkins in a field?
I heard 35, 50, yeah.
Blizzard, like, seriously, you report on player density. We know you do.
Yeah.
Why is there 35? Why is there 35 to 50 boomkins in a field all spamming Starfall?
And they're all running in a very, very specific line, all after each other. I mean,
we know that Blizzard track where you've moved to, because one of the things that caught botters out quite a while ago was there's 2 types of bots. Well, there's a lot more than that. There's 2 types of pathing that you can do in bots, and pathing is how a bot decides where it's going to move. You can either go point by point, and that is called waypoint pathing, moving from here to the next point to the next point, and it will just move between those waypoints in a straight line, basically. And that is the most basic form of botting or pathing. Sorry. The more advanced version is like pathing via an algorithm where we literally read the world in what's called a mesh. We understand the bot understands what is traversable and what is not traversable. It understands what a doorway is, etc., how to get into a building, etc., etc. And it uses what's referred to as an A-star cast and recast algorithm to move around, essentially. And it will say, I want to get from Stormwind to Zangarmarsh. How do I do that? And it will just do it.
So it's been taught how to do all the different movement areas of where to go in the game on a more, I guess, more complex level than just point to point.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been taught. What it's been given is a mesh which describes the world and whether things are traversable, and a set of rules, and it will decide using an AI. AI is probably the wrong word, but it will make a decision. I want to get from this XYZ location to this XYZ location. How do I get there? And it will build its own path how to get there.
Yeah. Okay, so avoid buildings, don't run into trees, don't suddenly drown in water, run up a mountain, all those things. Okay, I mean, that's a little more advanced way of thinking about it. It's definitely good.
So what you can do, going back to the point before, we got caught out with waypoint pathing because you just move to the same spot over and over again. So towards the back end of Wrath of the Lich King was a bit of software that came out called Papatha, which was an add-in, which then started to read the game world, which is what we were discussing there, and botting moved to what's referred to as now as hotspot botting. So
what do you mean with reading?
It will literally read the game world and go, there's a mob over there, how do I get there? And then decide how to move to it. And we now use hotspots where you put a dot on the floor, essentially. So, for instance, my bot that's skinning a Bastion, or was skinning a Bastion, RIP, you literally put a dot down in the middle of some mobs that there's always a cluster of mobs here that drop leather. That dot now needs to be 100 yards in radius, kill everything in this radius, and then
so
go
like
off.
Auto attack in a Warcraft 3.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you click down and then it attacks anything that's close by. And kills and loots and skins and all that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean,
and then it will say, okay, I've finished here, and move on to the next one. But the clever thing about that is it won't ever move. It will always go to somewhere within that hotspot, so it never hits the same XYZ coordinate twice in a row.
Okay.
Making us less obvious again.
Well, I mean, always got to find workarounds, I guess. I mean, to keep it going. But I mean, something I want to touch on again is obviously you said that all of your accounts got hit, but you're probably set up really quickly again. But I want to know your opinion on the fact that we obviously had the second round of the input broadcasting software ban. It seems to be more targeted towards multi-boxers, but do you think, in a sense, that it's going to help in any way to combat bots?
I think that they've put something out there and that they've changed their stance on this, and that they have now said something publicly because they have new heuristic software that is better able to detect bots.
And back-end stuff that we don't know about yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the stuff that I've just been talking about that I think Blizzard should have been doing for the last 5-10 years.
Maybe even more.
Maybe even more, let's be honest. So I think that they've had to change. I actually think multi-boxers have been caught in the crossfire of them fighting bots.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so they've had to change their stance on multi-boxing because they can't distinguish multi-boxers from botters.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we've been getting away with it for so long, because multi-boxing has been allowed.
I mean, that speaks a little bit into the nature of what multi-boxing is, It's because like, if let's say that is the true thing, I mean, that's only gonna box even more hate into multi-boxers, even more hate towards the people that used to do it and still do it to this day. it's actually also like the timing of it. We're obviously early in May. We just got the announcement that TBC is coming. The Burning Crusade is coming out, and we all know that in Classic Vanilla, when that came out, and also for a long while in it, botting was an enormous problem in Classic Vanilla. And obviously with TBC coming out very soon, I feel like this is timed up perfectly for them to maybe potentially handle it better.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, from the reason the botting was so prevalent in Classic was because, well, think of it this way: it's like getting given an exam but having the answers beforehand.
Yeah.
We already know what the best areas to level fast are. We already know what the best way to get gold is because we've already been there and already done it all. So we didn't have to innovate this time around. We just had to take kit that we already had and just go straight at it.
But it's also with the fact that there's no token, right? So I guess you can potentially even sell the gold for more. Because you can't buy a token and get some gold in Classic.
Correct.
So I mean, what do you think for TBC? Is it going to be the same? Do you think the majority of bots are going to be placed in TBC?
I think botting will be a problem in TBC from day one.
Yeah, but do you think it's going to be bigger than retail?
Well, retail's dead at the moment, so
I mean, yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Everybody is in patch burnout at the moment until 9.1 comes out. Every market is dead. I can't sell legendaries to save my life at the moment, which has been one of my major markets. It's just, I think we're going to see the same thing that we saw last time round, where there was a massive boom. People be like, "Oh, this is really exciting," and then 3 weeks later, everyone's bored of it again. Because we've all been there before, we've all done it before, and we're just blasting through the content super quick.
Yeah, so it all depends. It all depends on what's going to happen. It's I mean, speaking about like body in general, we've touched on it a little bit, but a question that, and this one I'll name out because it came from Samadan, specifically Samadan plays 5, who he is. And he put the question towards the last botting episode as well, and it is, what's their view on the ethics of botting? So what would be your overall morality compass when it comes to botting?
I mean, it's certainly changed. First of all, massive shout out to Samadan. I love you. You may or may not hate me for this, but I use your videos and your stuff all the time.
Oh my God, Bot is using
Samadan's videos.
You guys as well, bros. I mean, all we're doing a lot of the time is taking ideas within the WoW economy subreddit and then applying automation to it is the truth. But yeah, I'll stop fangirling now. Sorry, Samadan. But in all seriousness, my ethics in botting have changed a lot. I mean, if you think, okay, I'm mid-30s now. I started botting 2005. My original means and reasons for botting were that I just wanted to get ahead in the game and I didn't really give a toss about anybody else. And I didn't really care about the damage that I was doing, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah.
Versus then having to move into an area which, for want of a better word, was survival mode. Not asking for forgiveness, by the way, people. Don't care. To literally just get money. It was the quickest way for you to do that. Again, I didn't really care about the damage that I was doing within the game, if you want to put it like that. Versus now, where I'm just doing it as a solo project. Can I make 100 million gold? I don't plan on pumping that gold back into the economy anywhere, because I could just probably buy the whole auction house for a laugh. Like, you could probably buy probably not the whole auction house, but a good chunk of it. But you could do some serious damage with 100 million gold.
Yeah, you can, absolutely.
And I've got no plans to do that. It'll probably end up with me buying mounts for guildies, and just having like a big giveaway in the middle of Stormwind for a laugh or something like that.
Yeah.
Party.
Just throw a big party. But I've got whereas previously years ago I probably would have been a dick with it and bought out the whole leatherwork market to reset it or something that.
Can you imagine like just buying out all the materials that are used for base legendaries on a server and just deleting them?
Oh my god, that would be the ultimate. Yo, right. I'm logging in now. I'm doing it.
Yeah. Oh Jesus.
But yeah, it's like to answer the question. It'd be cool to have a chat with Sam again about this sometime, because I think I said to you guys, because you kindly sent me the questions ahead of time. It'd be cool to understand what he means by the ethics, because my ethics towards another botter really are cutthroat. If I see another botter in one of my patches, I'll report them immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
Because competition, or is it because of the policy you don't like it?
Yeah, competition. Screw that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right? It's the same as having another goblin on your patch, isn't it? It's like
it's a one for all.
Yeah, there's what is it? There's no honor among thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I see another botter out there, I'm reporting you. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it's especially if it's a really obvious bot. If you set your bot up so badly that you spend 30 seconds running into a tree before you go kill something, I'm reporting you because you're making it worse for the rest of us.
Yeah. If you're acting stupid, if you're a cadet, please get out of the way.
Yeah, it is that. It's like the public bots that are out there are so easy to set up. There's no and like some of the guides that people have written are better than like guides that Microsoft have written. Seriously, so there's no reason that you should be having your bot set up that poorly. But on an ethics, there's different areas of ethics for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to screw over an economy. I like to do nice things with my gold. Like the other day, there was one of my guildies who was having a bit of real life shit, couldn't afford to play the game, was going to have to stop raiding. So I was just like, dude, here's like 6 months of subscription. You don't have to worry about it. Stuff like that. Whereas,
I guess it more just goes into like what you think about because botting is cheating. You know, it's just I guess it goes into like, do you feel it's okay to cheat? You know, or do you just do it because I can? If they're not doing anything against it, I might as well.
I think this is probably a wider discussion. I think botting exists because there is a fundamental problem with the game. Is my standing on why bots exist. If you, I was going to bring this up as in the last section for some numbers and stats, but if you look at some of the big ban waves that did happen, 2015, 2016, and you track those against the what's the word I'm looking for? The materials of those expansions and times, you will see a significant drop in those materials on the auction house.
Absolutely.
And the price rise significantly. So does that make botting right? No, I'm not going to sit here and try and justify and say, okay, botters unite. But what I am going to say is that if all of a sudden, three quarters of the materials on the auction house disappear and prices of items suddenly go through the roof so that the general populace can't afford them,
everyone's going to be broke.
Yeah, you have a fundamental problem with your game. You have a fundamental problem with your economy. If it requires automation for your economy to be propped up, you have a problem.
Yeah, I guess the best way Blizzard could probably do it, if they ever decided to go hard against botting, is slowly take everyone out. Because then people can get, ease into the fact that the auction house and materials and consumables, whatever, they're going to get very expensive. They are. We all know it. We all, I mean, maybe not all of us, but a vast majority knows that we saw it from the multi-boxing, right? When the policy change was introduced until now, there are so many markets that are they're just not the same at all anymore, and like the drops and increases in prices have been more insane than ever. So yeah, I mean, with bots also potentially, hopefully getting targeted way more, that might be even worse.
Yeah,
might be even worse.
It is going to get to the point, and not to disparage your listener base, but if you think that you haven't benefited from botting in some way, shape, or form, if you're a goblin and you don't think you've benefited from botting in some way, shape, or form, you are very naive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've made 100%. I've definitely made so much gold from butters and multi-boxers on my server. Absolutely, because they post on the auction house. Obviously, not all of them, but some of them post very big stacks of materials or amounts or whatever at ridiculously low prices to just get rid of it. Yeah. Obviously, every single one isn't going to do that, but it still does happen.
Hey, what I want to know is, how does your day look as a botter a couple of years ago?
A couple of years ago?
Yeah, so when you make the money with it.
Oh, right, okay. So when I made money, are we talking Wrath of the Lich King area when I had like a large... Yeah, and I was literally doing this.
Give us an idea on how that works, how the process works, how the selling works. Do you use add-ons as well for it? Tell us a bit to give people an idea.
Okay, so my 100 and something butt farm was, I actually nicked the name from Diablo. I called it the Infernal Machine. Nice. And it was essentially, if you remember at the time, we had the Saronite Shuffle. Mm-hmm. So I was that's pretty much what I was doing across multiple servers. So my although I had 100 bots, 130ish, I think was my maximum bots from at any one time, my actual target would be on wherever gold was most going to be most profitable to me. So what I would do is I would get up in the morning. I would treat it like any other day at work. I was pretty disciplined about it, and I would get up, I'd have a look around to see what pricing was going on for what servers, speak to some of my contacts and say, have you got any requirements that you need filled? Because back in those days, people would kind of put a deposit down if they wanted a large amount of gold, and then it would get delivered not instantly. Whereas these days, there's such a large reserve of gold, that stuff will get delivered instantly. Y'all are spoiled now. Whereas previously you would buy like 500,000 gold and have to wait 2 days for it. So I would find out if there's any major requirements. I'd say to somebody, okay, I'm going to fill that requirement for you. And they would give me a deadline, at which point I would then log into my farm. And my farm was built up using some old kit. The reason I found myself without a job is I was made redundant and essentially just disappeared off with loads of the IT kit. So my farm was actually built up using a load of old IT kit that I essentially just walked out the door with. Plus some virtual servers and some other bits and pieces. So I had a group of bots that would go out and farm and actually just get Saronite for me and various other bits and pieces, herbs, anything I could sell in the auction house. Those would then go and mail those to my prospectors. They would prospect all that ore. I would then shuffle that into whatever I felt was going to sell best at that time, whichever gems, etc., and then sell those on the auction house for gold. Or, depending on who I was speaking to on those servers, I may have regular buyers. And those regular buyers would then furnish me with gold. Those would then go into a guild bank, and I would mule it to one of the to wherever I was deciding to sell it that day.
Okay. That's a good chunk of information. I mean,
and how are you doing it now at the moment?
At the moment, I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling gold. I don't sell gold anymore.
Farms. How does that work? Do you use any add-ons for it? Do you send it to another character? Tell us.
The way that my farm works at the moment is I am doing legendaries. So I literally just keep a stock of every legendary into a guild bank. So I had 5 or 6, I think it was 6 bots out farming the various items required to make legendaries. So that would be everything from I started off doing leatherworking, so let's just cover the leatherworking one, because that's the one I'd probably know the best. So they would just be out farming in Bastion and various other places to just get leather. All that leather would get sent back to another account where I had used, I think it was about 1 million odd gold to just boost my all of my legendaries to rank 4.
Mm-hmm.
I would then essentially, I wrote a small bot that just would go to the guild bank, count how many of each legendary I had. If it was less than 10, it would make additionals. So it would then, if it didn't have the materials to do it, so all it would do is it would just go to the guild bank, count how many there are. If there was less than 10 of a particular item, it would then take the items out of another tab from that same guild bank, and it would then craft them and put them back in the guild bank. Dead easy. So that's 2 parts of the machine. You've got your gathering and your creating. And then the third part of the machine is the commerce. So that one does use Trade Skill Manager. Sorry. But it's the easiest tool to use. You've basically done 90% of the work for us. My bot would go to the mailbox and then to the guild bank, and it would take out any leather working items, etc., and it would put those into the guild bank. It would then go back to the mailbox, and whilst it was at the guild bank, it would then pick up any legendary items that it needed to post on the auction house. It would then go back to the mailbox on the way back out, grab any money, etc., and head to the auction house. It would then use Trade Skill Manager to just put my stuff on the auction house, set up using groups, etc., and then just sit next to the mailbox for 35, 40 minutes and repeat.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, that's I mean, no wonder some legendary markets are completely dead on some servers.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's interesting because, again, on the WoW Economy forum, there was subreddit, there was somebody posted up thing the other day saying, basically saying that if you go out and farm stuff, it still has a cost.
Yeah.
It doesn't to a botter.
Nope.
It's not our time. It's our processor's time on something else somewhere else. So it is zero cost to us. So
Manfius, he's talking about your your Twitter post, by the way.
Yeah,
he sees you, Manfius. Hi.
I'm watching you, bro. But no, it is a serious point. Whereas you guys have an 8 gold cost to something, whether you farmed it or bought it off the auction house. I have a 0 cost.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still have some sort of cost, but you just don't. Cost. I mean, you still have some sort of cost, but it's not really relevant for you to actually take into account because it's so small.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the because of the size of the operation that you're running, so it doesn't matter in your case.
Correct. And when it comes to things like, so when you guys found shuffles stop being profitable because you can't get the. It's when you farm something, it's better to put it on the auction house. Okay, that's still the case for me. I farmed it. I would make more money when I put something on the auction house. But I suppose this swings back round to the Samadan ethics question. If I look at the auction house and see that there is good competition on the auction house for an item, and I've got, 10 bags full of leather, I'm not just going to go and crash the market and bully those people out of the market these days, because they're just here to play the game. Okay, other botters might have a different perception on that. I don't do that for me anymore. So I would rather just quickly write a bot that shuffles all of that, because that's making raw gold, which then isn't affecting the economy as much, if you see what I mean. Yeah. I'm not ruining somebody else's play experience by doing that. I'm just shuffling raw gold for my own benefit.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, it's bringing more gold into the game, so it still is touching it a little bit, but it's not fully the same as to touch. I mean, I guess impacting the current play experience.
Yeah, I'm not. So here's a question for you two, I suppose. Which would you rather? You two, let's say you two are 2 goblins on the auction house, which you are, and you've got a load of leather you're trying to get rid of at the moment, and then I come in with all my botted leather and can just undercut you. Or would you rather I shuffled it and just had raw gold in my pocket?
I'd rather have it on the auction house, to be completely
Oh,
honest.
really?
I would rather have you shuffle it, because then you have money to spend and you can buy my ladder.
No, the reason that I actually would rather want it on the auction house is something that gives a very good perspective of a certain market is knowing how much is on the market. You know, so if people that do farm put all of it on the auction house, we know how much we potentially have to play with on the server, and we can kind of, it's a better, easier way to predict how market is going to go. If we don't know how much is on a server, it's very risky to both invest and and move. So that's like a longer answer, but I would rather have it on the auction house.
I think both situations has its pros and cons, because
absolutely,
less is more. That's my goal in gold making. The lesser people post stuff, the more gold it will cost, the better the profits. That's how I think. But the other way, what Sensible says is also right. How cheaper you can get it, that's the more profit you can get from it as well. Or that's.
I think in my analogy though, what I'm saying is I am going up against you two who already have that same.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, as somebody who bots now purely for my own gain and just essentially for a laugh. I don't want to ruin somebody else's play experience. So if I rock up and suddenly dump, like 500 stacks of leather on the auction house, I've got a much, and I'm not going to dump that much. So I usually, if I was going to do that, I would keep some back and just keep undercutting somebody. But that bullies somebody out of the market, which then ruins their day. Whereas if I then go and shuffle it, I haven't done anything. All I've done is create gold out of thin air, essentially, with a vendor. And I haven't ruined somebody else's play experience. They're still getting gold from a player for fun. And they're still having their play experience that they would have had. A lot of botters won't think like that, and that's absolutely fine. No. I'm not saying everyone should think like that, but for me, knowing that I am having as little impact on the economy as possible is more preferable. Okay, my bots are still annoying people by being out in Bastion grinding, etc. But at least I'm not. In my opinion, at least I'm not just automatically undercutting somebody whenever
destroying absolutely everything.
I'm only having a small destroying impact. No.
I'm just, just a slight. I mean, I just lighted a small fire. It's not, a firestorm. It's fine. No, I mean, obviously, but whatever you do, I mean, it benefits all people, or takes away from some people in a sense. So something that. If we just talk about the straight shuffling into raw gold, the problem with that as a whole is that, raw gold introduces more gold into the game, which means that people get richer and richer and richer. And it's going to get to a point where people have so much gold that prices are going to go down anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of, revolves around the same thing, but it's a couple. Yeah, there's a lot of information on it. It's definitely it depends. It depends on so many things on the server and how many people do it. I think so. I think it's a hard answer for sure. There's not this is better. This is better. I mean, obviously the best option would be nothing at all.
Yeah, I agree.
It is what it is. We can't really control what people do. That's what Blizzard's supposed to do.
Yeah,
they're there to do actually do that. So yeah,
but yeah, it's just it's an interesting topic. There's a whole other episode on that probably.
Yeah. A question I wanted to say is, like, you could say like certain popular botting spots if people wanted to, since player reports are one of the better ways to get rid of bots. Maybe like you could say, this spot, this spot, this spot. But obviously, if you say that, then the majority of bots is just going to move away. But that's still good because
I mean, there's not really. The problem is that we can automate so much now that there isn't. If it's a good spot for you to go and farm, it's a good spot for us to go and farm. It's as simple as that. So there's not really like, I go here to do this. The only time that happens is when I'm leveling, and like I said, when I'm pet battling. The majority, for instance, if I suddenly rock up, my bot goes offline, and I turn it back on, and there's 10 people skinning in Bastion, I'll just move spots. I've got enough profiles to do that. I'll just move away and go elsewhere. So it's, if we look like a botter, report us.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I get that.
What kind of programs are there out there to bot? Do you have the public ones, the private ones? Can you name a couple of them?
Well, I think probably what we need to do is give people a bit of a primer here, if you're all right with that. So, as it stands at the moment, most of the botting community is built upon what's referred to as unlockers. So Blizzard's game and the front end of Blizzard's game, the bit that you play, is built upon a piece of, a language called Lua. This is a scripting language. Tons of other games use it. Now, Lua, and you guys may have seen this when you've made macros and stuff in game. It'll come up saying Lua error or something like that.
Yep.
Now, Blizzard has stuff that you can use and that we can all use, and we can make macros out of Lua, etc. But they then have essentially Blizzard only or engine only stuff, which is like click to move, move to this location, interact with this, etc., etc. And those are all, they're still in the game client. They have to be in the game client, otherwise you wouldn't be able to do anything. But they should only be accessible by the game itself. The unlockers that we use unlock and expose those Lua functions to our programs.
Oh, okay.
So we are essentially using World of Warcraft as our botting engine these days.
Okay.
Using them against themselves.
Which is probably part of the reason we've been so difficult to detect for so long.
Because they only detect their own software.
Mm-hmm. We're asking Blizzard to detect themselves at this point.
I mean, in a sense, you're kind of. It's basically like almost hacking Blizzard and telling them, "Hey,
well,
you have a problem."
World of Warcraft, buddy.
We expose all of this Lua. So then we write add-ons, our own add-ons, and because add-ons just run Lua, as you'll know. So we then just write our own add-ons to do something. So, like literally, my mailing and commerce bot, for instance, is just an add-on. So,
oh no!
Yeah, I literally just start the game and type /start, and it goes and does its thing.
You're telling me actually, like, let's think about this. If Blizzard decided that we don't want any add-ons anymore, if they said we're just gonna remove the option to do this, would all bots
no, because we would then.
Okay, good.
So for instance, the best Lua unlocker is currently offline. And it's one by the name of, it's just going completely out of my head, Lua Box. And that's currently offline. They're turning it into something else. I don't know the full ins and outs of why it's offline, but anyway. So a lot of my scripts and stuff I've then had to rewrite for other Lua unlockers that are out there at the moment. Yeah. Not a big deal. I was offline for 2 days or something like that, just getting everything sorted. But we just, the easiest way to do it is to just have the game load an add-on. That add-on then just calls Lua functions which are in the game. We normally wouldn't be able to call those Lua functions because they are locked, but the unlocker has unlocked those for us. So we can now just say, click here, do this, click here, do this, click here, do this.
So it just makes it an easier way to do it. You can still do it without it.
Yeah, so if we didn't have the add-on, so for instance, Lua Box had a whole separate thing where you could load scripts separately, and it was still Lua, but it would literally load those scripts for you. Essentially, think of it like side loading an app on Android.
Yeah.
So you could then just side load it, and it would just appear in the game as a panel, exactly the same way as any other any other add-on or anything else does, and you just make the game you just side load it that way.
Okay, so it wouldn't change anything really.
No, not at all. So from a public perspective, there are loads. Well, I say loads. There's 2 main public unlockers out there at the moment. There's a few private ones. I use a private one. The unlockers then give you the ability to bot. Now, there's bots for all sorts of different things. What we've mostly talked about today is bots for automation in terms of economy. But there are bots out there that basically play the game for you, and these are called rotation bots. Those rotation bots, so I've used them for a laugh in the past when I've either been drunk or too lazy to do anything. So I can get a perfect pars every time with my fire mage using a rotation bot. I mean, like you're talking like 99%, like 99th percentile pars every time. All you've got to do is move out the way of Sludge Fist, and you'd be surprised the number of people who I see who are using a rotation bot and still can't get out of the way of Sludge Fist. People learn your class, seriously. But those bots as well, so I'm not going to mention who or what guilds.
No, that's fine.
But I know for a fact, and we all know who you are because you're in the Discord, mate. We know that there are top-end guilds out there who are doing world progressions using rotation bots.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really come as a surprise to me.
No, I don't think it would come as a surprise to anyone.
And what you mean with the top guilds, you mean like the World 1...
Yeah, World First.
World First.
The people that are in the World First race when...
Yeah.
One of the 100 guilds, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it is still, I mean, it's still important, you know. It's another way of botting, obviously, but it's still important, still cheating in the game, so...
I'd be surprised. I mean, I know you guys did an episode with the carry community. I know of carry communities on my server that just use, again, bots, use a rotation bot because it provides consistency, and you are then providing consistency to a customer at that point. It provides you with an advantage. If you can do a sire kill and sell ahead of the curve sire kill time after time after time, and it gets to 10 o'clock at night and you've been at it for 6 hours, and you're still performing as well as you were 6 hours ago, that's an advantage. So, yeah, I mean, things like being able to never miss an interrupt, being able to... I really enjoy for a laugh doing it on my Resto Shaman, and like just watching him just bang down Healing Tide, bang down Healing Rain, etc., over and over and over again, and all of a sudden I'm top of the healing meters, despite the fact I'm like 20 eye levels behind the next shaman in my group. Is crazy.
Are there still a lot of companies that make these bots?
Yeah, I wouldn't call them companies these days. A company, you look at the likes of Honor Buddy, you look at the likes of Pocket Gnome, you look at the likes of Glider, and those types of stuff. They essentially painted a target on their back because they were a company.
Yeah.
Whereas now, these days, I'm not going to call it underground, but you've got Discords, you've got Telegrams, stuff like that.
Underground stuff because it's not official.
Well, I mean, it's a lot more underground than it was. Whereas before, you had big flashy websites for like Honor Buddy and stuff like that. Whereas now, you've got to join a Discord, which points you to a Telegram, which then points you to some Bitcoin address. You put $20 into a Bitcoin address, and all of a sudden some shady dude messages you, is like, "Hey kids, you want some magic?" It's like it's a lot dodgy. And
I mean, I guess with cryptocurrency, you know, that's untrackable currency.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an interesting one.
So tell us, you told us before there was something with a company and it got messaged by Blizzard. Can you tell us something about it?
Oh, you're on about EWT.
A little history.
I'm not saying any names, but...
Yeah, so that's not the company I worked for. Okay. So EWT was a recent Lua unlocker. It stood for something Extended WoW Toolbox or something. I can't remember. It was pretty good. And if you go to you can either go to the EWT website at the moment, Just trying to find it. EWT official website. EWT Warcraft. I don't want to. There he goes. EWTwow.com. Friend, it's gone, so I don't mind sort of telling you what it is.
Yeah.
So the comment on their website literally says, after being reached by Blizzard, I decided that EWT development, support, and sales must be discontinued. Despite being an independent platform, EWT allowed the development of many other tools that infringe Blizzard's term of use. With immediate stop of EWT services, these tools will stop working, at least under the EWT platform. This is the last official statement, and no further comments will be made. Thanks for your support. This was what I referred to earlier on. Blizzard would rather litigate than innovate. They would rather slap somebody with a lawsuit because it's faster and cheaper to do that than it is to actually fix the problem. But they're not going to fix the problem because all they've done is cut one head off the Hydra.
Yeah. And those botters that don't use that program anymore go to another supplier. Yeah,
literally that. I mean, like I said, my preference was always Lurebox. I liked Lurebox. It was a really good bit of software. And it will come back bigger and better. They didn't get banned, is my understanding. They've done so. I don't really understand the politics and why they're not selling it at the moment or what's going on. But everybody just moved from EWC to Lurebox. It was literally that. That statement from EWT came out, and all of a sudden the chat program that we were using to talk about Lurebox and get support, etc., just went like, oh look, 200 new people have just joined. That's nuts. So they just migrate to whatever a working platform is.
How far can Blizzard go with these kind of procedures? Well,
I mean, you look at the case of Glider, which was the first bot that the grandfather had bought in. They sued Michael Donnelly, I think his name was, for God knows how much. There was rumors flying around. They turned up at his house and bullied him. Whether those are true or not is for other people to make a decision about. I don't know. But I think that was actually brought up in the court case. Blizzard, don't sue me. The case with Honor Buddy and Pocket Gnome, again, like you look at those two, you can easily go and search the legal proceedings. I don't think Honor Buddy ever had a number announced against how much, but Pocket Gnome was sued for something like $7 or $8 million.
Wow.
All of these, the thing that's really sad is that all of these came down to Blizzard not being right, but having more money to litigate.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're richer than you, so goodbye.
Yeah, we've got deeper pockets than you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
We got deeper pockets, so we don't pay GMs for it.
Yeah, it's literally that. It's like it's
They're like, okay, so we can spare the money on not having GMs, and then just randomly taking out some bots, and we'll try to keep it down,
But which has more of a public-facing impact? Blizzard winning a court case for $8 million, or them quietly banning bots and it not being a problem anymore?
Depends how you look at it, because when there's an announcement on ban waves on Bowhead, then people are like, they're cheering and they go nuts. So.
But that's why I didn't mention ban waves. So my point is that if they brought back GMs, it would be quietly done, and the problem would be kept on top of the
people wouldn't even need to cheer because it's done behind the scenes. There's no problem.
Exactly. Blizzard
remove everything.
Blizzard aren't doing this to fix the problem. Blizzard are doing this to make it look like they're fixing the problem.
Yeah. But they're really not.
Oh no, not at all.
And you were, by the way, a programmer.
I am a programmer, yeah.
Or you are a programmer. You were a programmer of a bot.
I didn't program for a bot specifically. I programmed for a company who use the code that we were creating to kind of put a bot together. We knew what it was being used for. We also provided support on the forum. I am a programmer by trade. That is what I do. I'm an software engineer. But the company I worked for, was sued by Blizzard Entertainment. They lost spectacularly. And it was not a great time for everybody involved.
Can you say anything about that? What you said, like spectacularly. What should we think about that?
It kind of alludes to the point I was making before that, in my opinion, the actual complaint that Blizzard put forwards wasn't substantial. And if it had gone on for long enough and there had been enough money for the company that I was working for to continue their litigation proceedings, I actually think that enough appeals would have been put in place for them to win. And Blizzard would have lost that, but Blizzard would never let that happen because that would then set a precedence. We had to hand our code base over. We had to say and prove that we had deleted all of it. The thing about it is that Blizzard haven't, as far as I can tell, used any of our code to understand how and what we were doing to then combat the problem. Okay. There was plenty within that code which would have pointed them to say, when they do this, we should be able to. It's got harder, don't get me wrong. It's definitely a cat and mouse game, but they've not actually learned any lessons for anybody that they've sued and taken away. It just seems like they just lock the stuff away and put it in a vault, and that's it.
Yeah, basically you're giving them the key and they just don't use it. They just put it in the desk, the key, and then
literally that.
With it. Right.
We're basically loading the gun for them, and then they're just putting it in a cupboard.
Okay. Let's talk about some numbers. You amazed us already with a couple of things. What's the biggest bot that you have heard of with the most accounts?
Probably the Chinese bot farms. So everybody knows in the early days of Warcraft, it was all done by hand, and everyone used to take the piss running up to Chinese people shouting "ni hao" at them. Sort of after that kind of dropped away, it just got moved to bot farms. You're talking people who were maintaining upwards of 1,000 accounts.
Wow, 1,000 accounts.
There was a period where, and I don't think it was very, very long, but people were running what we would refer to as headless clients.
Yeah.
It was like the ultimate dream to have like a headless client where you literally just clicked go. It didn't even load World of Warcraft. It just moved the character around in the game. And there was rumors flying around that the Chinese farmers were using those. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But there was definitely some very, very big Chinese gold farms out there.
Okay.
So obviously towards the end here, we have we did this on another episode as well. We did this for the boosting episode, and it's just a numbers question. Do you have any interesting stats you would like to bring forward? Any numbers to like? Wow, what do you mean?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, there's got to be the amount of money that flows through ourselves and the botting community. I mean, you guys saw what the numbers were from the boosting community, and they're eye-watering. You could double that.
What?
Easily.
What?
Oh my god, dude! So you're telling me in the botting community there's at least a double amounts.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm sat on 70 million liquid at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, then again, we could also have like in a majority, maybe not a majority, but I like there's no shot that none of the boosting communities have people that bought.
Well, can you give us a number? Like, not everybody listened to the boosting community episode. Can you give us a global number?
I don't think I can, if I'm brutally honest. The reason being that I don't know how much other people. The problem is that it tends to be a closely guarded secret what and what you're doing, how many you're running, and that type of stuff. You don't want to give your stuff away because, to be quite honest with you, we know that Blizzard are sat in our chat channels. We know that Blizzard are sat and are buying these stuff. We know.
How do you know that then?
Just because there's too many coincidences, if you want to put it like that. There's stuff that happens on a regular basis, and you're like, I mean, it's become a standard joke there, like that you jump in a chat channel and you're like, "Hey, Blizzard." Like, instead of saying good morning to everybody, you literally jump in a chat channel. You're like, "Morning, Blizzard."
Yeah, instead of waving to a GM that's invisible, now it's hello in the Discord channel.
Yeah, and I mean, we tend not to use Discord because Discord ban cheating communities fairly instantly. So we have various other chat channels that we use, Slack and the like. But yeah, it's like they're 100% there. They're 100% trying to just gather information and gather intel. And that's the most frustrating thing, is that we know they're there and then they're doing nothing about it.
Any other numbers you want to share with us that you think is interesting?
Yeah, I suppose actually. So here's some interesting things for you. That when instance farming was a thing, so Blizzard, fair play to you, Blizzard, you actually fixed the instance farming side of things. It's not really that profitable for us anymore. There was a period a few months ago. Damn you, Asmongold! This is your fault. The instance farming that he saw. Not his server, because I don't play US, EU. I think it was 30 or 40 bots running, and they were making about 5k an hour. So if you extrapolate that, so I'm making 5k an hour, I can run those bots 24/7. So that's making me 120 gold a day on each bot. Multiply 120,000 multiplied by 30 bots running a day. There's 3.6 million gold a day.
Yeah.
So
I personally sat here and did this math a long time ago now, before they nerfed all the raw gold, because I had, a ridiculously stupid challenge. I ran through Mana Tombs 5,783 times, one pattern. And some people might have thought I was a bot, but no, I mean,
am I hiring you?
But no, listen, in my time there, I saw, I don't even know how many bots, hundreds for sure. And I reported so many of them. And I sat there because, every time I saw 10, 20, 30 bots around the entrance of Mana Tombs, I was like, I was like, I'm making 2,500 raw gold, and I'm getting all these materials as well that I can just sell in the auction house. If somebody did this 24 hours a day on a multiple body, they can make ridiculously stupid amounts of gold. It's so insane.
I mean, the Botanica was the reason we were running the Botanica is because it was a loop. It was a nice loop with an easy exit. So, and going back to a point you were making earlier on about banning whole accounts, one of the things that's great is that they don't ban whole accounts and that mounts are account wide. So I quickly jump on my Mammoth. I start a new account, level it all the way up, and the next thing you know, I've already got my Mammoth that I can sell stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have
20k, easy clap.
Yeah, easy clap. Don't have to worry about it. It's not 20k that I've had to invest into a new account though.
Nope, that's true.
And the other clever thing about running instances, and a fair play to Blizzard for nerfing it, because you didn't have to buy a copy of Shadowlands to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the old ones, that is true, yeah.
I just had to level up to 50. I could easily, whatever it was at the time. So what most of us were doing was just rolling a Demon Hunter, going through the Demon Hunter starting thing. And again, the easiest way to do that was actually to do it by hand. So I would get 10 accounts running on one computer, and one of the tools in Lurebox was essentially, it would just do a follow the leader. So you would all just point them to the leader and it would copy everything that I did. So if I picked up a quest, it would pick up the quest. If I killed something, and so we would just go around and I would level 10 accounts in one go.
And get it done.
Run them all over to Botanica and set them running.
Yeah, but I mean, the vast majority of the boss that I saw running around in Manitombs were actually rogues. And obviously that's what a lockbox is. But it's still interesting, you know, because it's the thing that I am as well. If Blizzard really wanted to go against botting and find these, every single bot literally just had a face smashing name. You know, they literally just took their hand and then placed the entire hand on the keyboard, and that's their name. You know, like FG HTYU, and like if you have a name like that on multiple characters, I mean. Are you really a World of Warcraft player that plays the game actively? You know, I don't know. It's just a little funny, I think.
But I mean, like from to extrapolate that further, it's getting to the point now where, and we talked about this at the beginning, if Blizzard have started to actually actively use statistics to start to ban us, then this is the type of thing if I run the Botanica 1,000 times in a day, that's an account that needs looked at straight away.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens, you know. Maybe this is a start to something.
Yeah, and then I'd be happy to do like a follow-up episode or jump on at some point, you know, and just kind of give an update of where things are at. But I can't see, usually, and this is the irony, we usually see this type of activity with us getting banned and stuff like that in conjunction with the current expansion being on sale. And funnily enough, guess what's on sale at the moment?
No, we talked about this as well when the policy update came out, and we heard a couple of people that have gotten banned, and then we obviously reached out to you and asked the same thing. And then I was like, I feel like almost every single time that we hear about, you know, a little more active bans than normal, they put the game on sale. And I just think, like, if from a perspective of somebody that plays this game, if you see that and you notice that, I mean, that feels like one of the most scummy things in the entire world.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely disgusting.
Blizzard are a joke. I'm not sure if you can put that in, but
I say it all the time.
But like, I mean, they're literally laughing in everybody's, and this again comes back to the ethics side of things. I'm not trying to sit here and say, it makes it right, but it's, for me, the fact that this is just so damn obvious and that Blizzard are doing sweet nothing about it just makes me even more determined to do it. Yeah.
Like you're standing outside the gates of Blizzard HQ, like, I am cheating. Yeah. Please ban me.
I mean, here's a funny story that you can use. So there's a forum which is still very active, so I'll not mention it because I don't really want to push people down that route. But there was an exploration thread on there, and one of the big things for everybody was to get to GM Island. We've got to get to GM Island, and everybody will remember it. And I remember being stood on GM Island, literally face to face with a GM, and we sat outside on that hill outside GM Island, talking for about 45 minutes. And he was just asking, what do you do? What do you do for a living? We just talked. And then he was like, at the end, he's like, look, I'm going to have to slap you with a 3-day ban. I was like, all right, cool. And it's just like, it's because that doesn't exist in the game anymore, and because Blizzard have taken away all of the, I'm not going to say the fun of the game, but because Blizzard have just taken away the human element that exists around the game, there is just a pure want for me to just say, right, okay, well, if you think you can take all the human element away, so will I. I'll get rid of all the boring bits of the game for me. I don't want to have to earn God knows how much gold to make my guild be able to raid. I'll just bang 10 million in the bank and we can go raiding. I don't want to have to go and grind bloody Torghast for 10 hours. I just want to do this, that, and the other. The more is the most boring thing in the world. And so I can just not think and grind that while I'm watching telly. It's poor game design that's pushed me down botting, if anything. I want to be here with my friends. I want to be doing the things I want to do with my friends, but poor game design has pushed me down the botting route.
Hey, Butter Bob, Tezul and I want to thank you for participating in this episode. And thank you for the information, man.
Anytime, guys. And report us. Seriously, you'll make our lives harder.
Don't forget, guys, if you're listening at the moment on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform for the podcast, give it a like.
Give it a follow.
Give it a rating.
Ding the notification bell.
No. Or
Definitely click the follow, click the comments, smash notification bell, all that what do we say? All those things. No, write a review, give us some stars, wherever you're listening, wherever you find us.
Share us. Share our link. Share our link. It's
Tell
free.
people listen to the Auction House podcast. Great podcast. Want to learn something about gold making? Definitely listen.
Indeed.
All that good stuff.
So, Sensu, what's up for next week?
Well, next week we have something very exciting going on. This is a new kind of segment that we're trying. We're bringing on a new / intermediate gold maker to talk with them about their early days of gold making and potentially helping them further in the adventure.
Okay, nice.
It'll be great.
Yeah, they're going to be live on the show with us, or live. We're going to hear them live. We're going to edit, of course, every bad thing they say out of it.
Yeah, of course. No. We're going to have them on the episode, of course. It's going to be great.
And we're going to help them on their way to become bigger gold makers than they already are.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That is the goal.
Check it out. Episode 20, guys.
It's going to be great. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And of course, get excited for next week's episode.
Guys, people in Azeroth, gold makers, goblins, non-goblins, thank you all for listening to this 19th episode. Hope to see you. No, not see you, but hope to get you back in episode 20.
Episode 3,032.
Yeah, that episode as well. It's going to be a special one, by the way.
Yep.
Sen, any last words?
Beans.
My last words is get an air fryer. Guys,
I mean, that's factual information. That's very, very good.
see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.